UFC 296 is right around the corner, and I want to give my official in-depth prediction for every single fight that is on the main card, from the main card opener of Paddy Pimblett versus Tony Ferguson to the main event, Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington. Now, the reason that I'm only going to be doing the main card for this video is because I shoot and edit all these videos on my iPhone, and that limits me to around 15 to 20 minutes, and I want to get so in-depth with these that I'm not only going to be giving you my pick, but I'm going to be giving you how I think this fight is going to play out, and if, for example, how a Tony Ferguson beats a Paddy Pimblett, what his pathway to victory is going to look like, and I'll do that for everybody. But without further ado, if you enjoy this type of content, please consider a subscribe, a like, really helps me in the algorithm, and with that out of the way, let's get started. The first fight that we are going to be covering is Paddy Pimblett versus Tony Ferguson. Now, I have gone back and forth with this. I have said that Paddy Pimblett, whether he wins or loses, this is a lose-lose scenario for him. Now, I think that's less now than it was when this fight was made, because Paddy is starting to get some goodwill back, even from me. Like, I no longer really care about the Jared Gordon fight. The fact is, the only people that are at fault for that robbery is the judges. Paddy's there, get a bag. That's just how it is, and I can't really blame the guy for accepting a win. But I don't think there's going to be a robbery necessary here. I think Paddy Pimblett is going to, I must say fairly easily, and I'll get to why, be able to take down Tony Ferguson. Either lock up a rear naked choke with a body triangle, or, and this is where the other part of it comes in, Tony Ferguson is going to be able to find the blow, maybe not drop Paddy Pimblett, but engage them in a clinch, and Paddy's going to either be able to find the trip, or we're either going to get a guillotine or a triangle. The reason why I say that is because Paddy Pimblett, although his striking is, it's lacking. There's no other nice way to say it. It's not his striking is lacking. Shin is up in the air just about every single time he goes in with a barrage. And the last thing to go when you're fighting and getting up there in AIDS is the power. And Tony Ferguson proved in the Michael Chandler fight, and even kind of in the Bobby Green fight, he has the power to sting you. And Paddy Pimblett's shin is up there to be hit. Do I think that Tony Ferguson is going to be able to get the win here? No, but let's be real here. 2023 has been quite possibly the biggest year of upsets in MMA history, so I wouldn't rule that out. But if I'm going to be a betting man here, which I am, I'm going to say Paddy Pimblett is going to get either a first-round submission. I don't know why, but I'm leaning towards second round. I think Paddy Pimblett ends the first round with a locked-in body triangle. He's going to look very, very dominant. He's going to win the first round off of control time. I think Tony Ferguson's conditioning is going to make him survive the first round. But I think the second round, Paddy Pimblett is going to find a submission. I think it's going to be a strangle. I can either see rear naked choke is number one most likely. Head and arm strangle, fairly likely. If Bobby Green can get it on you, Paddy's going to be able to get it. And I think the least likely submissions is going to be like a guillotine or a triangle, purely because I don't think Tony Ferguson is going to put Paddy on his back. I will be very surprised at that. But that's the bet that I'm willing to put. Second round finish for Paddy Pimblett. Now for Tony Ferguson, bro has to land. It's as simple as that. If we were talking about a Tony Ferguson, the same Tony Ferguson that fought even Michael Chandler, I would favor that Tony. Because Tony Ferguson can land. Tony Ferguson has the power to land. He has that unpredictability to land. And Paddy gets hit. Everything from his debut to his fight with Jared Gordon, he gets hit. I know he was injured in the Jared Gordon fight, but he gets hit in every single fight he is in. Like, there's no looking past that. I think he's going to win, but Tony Ferguson does have a chance of at least dropping Paddy in this fight. And that would be his pathway to victory. Try to keep this fight standing. Use your elbows when he gets in close. If you're going to enter into a clinch with Paddy, make sure on the exit, land an elbow, cut him up. But that would be my pathway to victory for Tony Ferguson and my prediction for Paddy Baddy versus Tony Ferguson. The next fight on the card is Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Now, if I had to give a prediction for a fight of the night bonus, I think it's going to go to Shavkat Rakhmonov, almost guaranteed. Because Shavkat Rakhmonov, I respect Wonderboy. And Wonderboy is going on his YouTube channel, the Embedded series, and in the press conference saying, if I beat Shavkat Rakhmonov, I get a title shot next. And I'm going to be real with you. Yeah. If Wonderboy is able to beat Shavkat Rakhmonov and defy the odds, give this man a title shot. I don't care if he's 40. I don't care about Bilal Muhammad. You kind of have to do it, man. But let's live in reality real quick. Shavkat Rakhmonov is going to submit Wonderboy. I don't think he outstrikes him, and I think this is how this fight's going to play out. I think Wonderboy is smart enough and has a smart enough fight IQ to keep this at distance, because at distance I would favor Wonderboy using his kicks, being able to keep this just far enough to the point where he can land and Shavkat has trouble. But Shavkat Rakhmonov almost reminds me of a improved Diaz brothers. And what I mean by that is Shavkat Rakhmonov is one of the best fighters I've seen in a minute at utilizing the clinch to wrap up their opponent whenever they're coming in. You could see this in the Jeff Neal fight. Shavkat Rakhmonov is so good that when his opponent is coming in, wrap up, punch, exit on the elbow, knees to the body, utilizes that to great effect. And then when he has his opponent anxious for, okay, is there a knee landing? Do I really want to leave? He's going to slice me open with an elbow. He hits you with a trip. So I think Shavkat Rakhmonov has too many weapons to throw at Wonderboy here, and Wonderboy has too few, but these few weapons are really good. His kickboxing is on point, but Shavkat Rakhmonov's grappling, clinch work, and really striking inside the pocket is just better. I think Shavkat Rakhmonov is going to get a submission. I know Guru said arm triangle, and I hate to choose somebody else's pick, but that one's most likely going to come true. If I had to place money on any of Guru's bets, it would be Shavkat Rakhmonov winning by arm triangle. But I want to be different, so I'm going to say Shavkat Rakhmonov is going to go for an arm triangle. Wonderboy is going to be able to defend, but in that moment, when he's defending the arm triangle, he's going to go into a turtle. Shavkat Rakhmonov is going to take his back, secure the body triangle, and Shavkat Rakhmonov is going to get a rear naked choke. I'm similar enough, but I'm not just copying his pick. But Shavkat Rakhmonov is going to win. Now, pathway to victory for Wonderboy, I already said it in the beginning. He has to keep this at distance, and as crazy as it sounds, I don't think he is going to be able to put out Shavkat Rakhmonov. I think if he does win, it's going to be by a decision, point fighting, and I don't even like those odds. So, yeah, best chance for Wonderboy is winning a decision here. Shavkat Rakhmonov wins easily. Domination, fight, not fight of the night, performance of the night bonus. Now, next up, we got Ian Gary versus Vincente Luk. Now, this one, my opinion has changed over who I believe wins this. I was going to wait to see Ian Gary in the Embedded. Ian Gary do the press conference. But I think he skips it, honestly. If he somehow made the press conference by the time you're watching this video, then egg on my face. But I'm going to be real. I think he's going to skip the press conference. He's not on the Embedded. What type of move is that? I thought your wife was your manager. She got you into this entire mess. Maybe he's just trying to wait till the smoke clears, but at this point, this just looks bad. I really do believe that all these videos that are being made about him, all this shit that's going on Twitter, the Sean Strickland situations, the fact that Ian Gary had a run-in with Sean Strickland, and it was pretty hostile, I think this is getting to him. I think he's coming in with the mentality that I have to put a statement against Vincente Luk and to prove all the haters wrong. But here's the problem, Gary. You could win by a Masvidal flying knee in the first round. I don't even think that fixes your problem, because we don't deny that you are a great fighter. But your marriage is a little weird, bro. Like, you're hitting Sean Strickland with a cease and desist and a threat of a defamation. Like, this isn't good. I think Ian Gary has the skills to beat Vincente Luk. And if I had to give you a play-by-play for how this fight's going to go, Ian Gary, if he's smart, is going to keep this at distance. Not in the first round. If Ian Gary wins, I can see it by either a late third round KO or TKO or a decision. Because Ian Gary's best bet is going to be to keep this at distance, point fight at range, wait till Vincente Luk gets impatient. As he's coming in, clip him with a pullback counter, land a knee. I mean, like, Ian Gary is good at fighting off the back foot. And he's also good at fighting off his front. Ian Gary's just a good striker after everything. I think he's a better striker than Vincente Luk. Luk is also a phenomenal striker, but he's a little chinny, man. And Ian Gary, I think, is going to find the KO blow in most cases. But if Luk is aware of his weakness, is patient, waits for Ian Gary to try to put on a statement, and he comes in, I can see Vincente Luk hitting him with that, like that catch hook as he's coming in. And if Vincente Luk drops you with a catch hook, there is no, like, hesitancy to get a TKO finish. And I do think that's how this fight will end. So I'm going to say Vincente Luk. I'm going to say Vincente Luk round 2 or round 1. It depends how hungry Ian Gary is. It's either Ian Gary wins by decision or Vincente Luk wins by a TKO early. And I have to pick one. I'm going to say Vincente Luk round 2 TKO. Our next fight on the card is going to be Alexandre Pantoja versus Brandon Royval. This one I think is going to has a pretty good possibility of being a fight of the night, but I don't think they'll give it to him because this is flyweight, and the UFC has a big history of disrespecting flyweight. And Pantoja has gotten the least press out of every fighter on this card. I'm not even kidding you. Like, if you ask people to name fights on this card, they will name the co-main event last. But I think Pantoja's going to get it done, or I hope he does. Because I want a dominant champion at flyweight. We had Demetrius Johnson, Figueiredo, and then we had Figueiredo, Brandon Moreno, and then Pantoja comes in like the flyweight Alex Pereira and dethrones Moreno. I just want some title defenses, man. That's all I want. And I think Pantoja is good enough to win here, but Royval's grappling is just insane, dude. Like, he is going to be so difficult to control. I can see Royval finishing Pantoja if Pantoja is impatient. Pantoja's extremely durable. Royval's not going to be able to finish this on the feet. But Pantoja can. Pantoja's a better striker than Royval. Royval, I believe, is better off his back than Pantoja, but it's close. If Pantoja wins this, it's going to be by a war. I don't think this fight ends in a finish. If it does, it ends late. And if Royval wins, I believe it ends in a submission off his back. Like Pantoja gets impatient. He drops Royval to the mat. As he's going in for the TKO, Royval's able to go from a triangle to an armbar, and then we start getting into these scrambles. And I give it to Royval in those scrambles in the grappling. But I give it to Pantoja everywhere else. But it's not like Pantoja is better everywhere else by a large margin. He is this much better than Royval everywhere else. Like, if he gets Pantoja tired enough, he can get ahead in the later rounds. But I'm going to pick Pantoja to win this by a 5-round decision. But I think shins are going to be tested here. And if somebody does get KO'd, it will be Royval. But that's going to be my pick for the co-main event. Now, we are on the main event. Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington. Before I give my prediction, let me just say this. If Colby Covington somehow wins, this will be the biggest year for upsets in UFC history. I don't care. We had Aljamain Sterling get KO'd by Sean O'Malley in almost a shot-for-shot remake of the finishing sequence of Jose Aldo and Conor McGregor. We had Sean Strickland outstrike and outpoint Israel Adesanya for 5 rounds. And if Colby Covington is able to get the finish, I don't even care how. Like, this is the craziest year for finishes, like, not just finishes, but upsets in UFC history. Now, back to reality. Leon Edwards is going to outclass Colby Covington for, at bare minimum, the first 3 rounds of this fight. I think Leon Edwards gets a finish within the first 3 rounds. If Colby Covington manages to win, it's going to be by a TKO in round 5. Like, Leon proved that he has cardio enough to beat Kamaru Usman. And I know people are going to say, well, what about the first fight? Fight was at elevation. Kamaru Usman teams at team elevation. That favors him and Justin Gaethje over everybody else. And Leon Edwards made it 5 rounds. And then when they ran it back in England, Leon Edwards proved he has that cardio to go 5 rounds and maintain a steady dominance over those five rounds. Colby Covington has good cardio, weaponizes presser probably better than anybody else at welterweight because he doesn't cut weight. Like, he doesn't have to worry about weight cutting. He comes in fresh. And I think that will help him, but there's a solid chance Leon Edwards doesn't give him that chance. I think Leon Edwards is going to be able to beat him within the first 3 rounds. Bro, honestly, I can see a headshot dead remake. I can see as Colby Covington comes in for a takedown, Leon Edwards is able to land a knee. Doesn't KO him like a Masvidal, obviously, but I think he lands the knee, messes up the takedown, and off of there, Leon Edwards gets a TKO finish in the 2nd to 3rd round. But I think if Leon's smart here, he's going to put on the presser in the 2nd and 3rd round. Don't start in the 1st, because if you put the presser on in the 1st round and you don't finish him in the 2nd and 3rd, now we're going into the deep waters with Colby Covington. But I believe Leon Edwards wins by, I got to pick a round, 3rd round TKO. But if Colby Covington wins and his pathway to victory is going to look something like, bro, you have to accept that you're most likely going to lose the 1st round. You're most likely going to lose the 2nd, but the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, those are your rounds to try to take. I would focus on the wrestling, being able to control Leon Edwards. And before people say, Kamaru Usman beat Colby Covington, and Kamaru Usman is a wrestler, Leon Edwards has been training against wrestlers, so he'll be able to stuff the takedowns of Colby Covington. I believe he'll be able to do that early, but Colby Covington's style of wrestling is much more offensive than Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman doesn't have the knees to offensively wrestle like he used to. Colby Covington, say whatever you want about Colby Covington. Colby Covington has maintained his shape and his performance to be able to utilize wrestling properly. And I think he's going to be able to score a takedown. It's just a matter if Leon Edwards is going to be able to get up and how gassed and how much Colby Covington is going to be able to grade him down. But Colby Covington, accept that you lose round 1, accept that you lose round 2. 3, 4, 5, land your takedowns. Get him down to the ground. Don't get too antsy with the finish, but break him in that end of the 4th, going into the 5th. If you make it to the 5th round, take him down immediately if you can and just grind him to a TKO or submission. Do I think this is likely? No. But that is your pathway to victory here. You do not outstrike Leon Edwards. You do not outclinch Leon Edwards. And I think that's about it. I think Colby might be able to out-scramble him just because, like, that wrestling does count for a lot. But I don't think he's going to be able to control him like some people that are picking him are. This fight is closer than people give it credit for because the fact is Colby Covington can make this extremely competitive if it goes late. But either Leon Edwards gets a clean finish or this turns real competitive in the later rounds. But that's going to be it for the video. If you enjoy my content, please consider a like, a subscribe, and 90% of you aren't subscribed. 90% of my viewers are not subscribed. Only like 10% are. So if you like my content, please consider subscribe and like. And I think that's going to be it. If you disagree with any of my picks, go in the comment and give me your justification, and I'll read through them, and I'll most likely pin your comment. Adios, guys.